Smith, Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose. I'm Mike Greenberg. A very Merry Christmas. You've had a very full day, but this was a statement win. You said before the game the Warriors needed to show up tonight, and that they most certainly did.
Without question. I mean, Jordan Poole was doing his thing. There's no doubt about that. You got contributions off the bench, particularly from a guy like Moody. Wiseman, the numbers didn't show up, but he was active defensively. He was running up and down the court. He made sure his presence was felt in the middle. Obviously, going against Steven Adams and those boys, that makes a difference. And, of course, Draymond Green had 11 rebounds, 11 assists. You just look at the effort. You look at the defensive tenacity. They showed up on their home court, which is what they're accustomed to doing this season.
Look at role players, bench players. Ty Jerome, a name that we haven't spoken and people haven't heard of since Virginia, when he helped, get them, deep into the tournament and had a great career. He comes off the bench and has like his 6 of his first 7 shots. But this is the difference between that team at home and on the road. Now, they got an 8-game homestand. This is the first of that. They need to win 6 or 7 of these games at least to put a dent into this deficit they've got in the Western Conference to start looking at more of a play-in position.
What cannot be ignored is that these two teams, there was a little bit of bad blood when they met in the Western Conference Finals a year ago, and I don't know if that was the officials being particularly cognizant of that, but one way or another, at times this was a festival of technical fouls.
This is the kind of basketball I grew up playing, you guys grew up covering, and we all grew up watching. When you see the opponent have a healthy dislike and disdain for one another.
Good.
Hard fouls, barking in one another's faces, and taking it personal. And that's what the Warriors did. Forget the stats. The depth was on display by the Warriors, but they took it personal that the Memphis Grizzlies thought without Steph and without Wiggins that they was going to bully you. That's what Memphis tried to do. And I appreciate how the Warriors, the defending world champion Golden State Warriors, stood up and got it done.
I have to say this. This is going to be relatively unpopular and what have you. I'll speak for myself. I won't leave it to anybody else. I just want to ask a rhetorical question. Do we matter, the fan? Because, see, we love that. We love seeing them getting in each other's face.
No, we don't. Because the league doesn't want that.
No, listen.
You know
I
that,
said
right?
we. I said we.
I know.
And that's why I'm talking about. Listen, I love me some Adam Silver. I know a lot of the officials. I got a lot of respect for the great officials that they are. But the sensitivity rate has elevated to an all-time high. I mean, my God, everybody's getting a technical foul. Jordan Poole gets thrown out of the game the way he's balling. The fans came to see him play. It's Christmas Day, man. What did he do? You got Kuminga, he got a technical foul, all because he said, ooh, and turned away and walked away. Didn't get in the referee's face, didn't cuss at him, but he gets a technical foul. It's too excessive. Stop messing with the game like that.
It's not going to change, Stephen A.
It needs to change,
you know
Mike
why?
Wilbon.
As we sit here, because it's a TV show.
Okay.
And that is not what the league wants, and they're not going to have it. And those technicals are going to continue to be called.
Yeah, they do want the players to be robotic. And as somebody that got ejected on Christmas Day, I got to remind Jeff Van Gundy, all I did was hit my head against Kurt Thomas' elbow. That's all I did. That's all I did.
Ready to go? Let's take it to Denver. Merry Christmas.
Night, Jaren Jackson Jr. with another rough night, and Ja Morant by himself couldn't carry the Grizzlies to a win over the Golden State Warriors, and they are feeling good as they improved to 13-2 at home. And we welcome everybody to Warriors Live, presented by Toyota, with the NBA champ Festus Ezeli, our Hall of Famer Warriors insider Monty Poole. I am Bonte Hill, and Monty, I'll start with you. Yep. That was a statement made by the Golden State Warriors saying basically the West still runs through the Bay.
You know, the Grizzlies did all this talking, and they haven't won any. They've won 1 playoff series. And so, and again, the last time they saw the Warriors beat them four times in 6 games. Now the Warriors have beaten them 5 in the last 7 games. So it just, they're a good team, but the Warriors at home have been a different team this year. We've seen that all season long. Today was kind of like, sorry, business as usual for them.
This is the craziest case of Jekyll and Hyde I've ever seen. The Warriors right now at home, the way they move the ball, we talk about this all the time. How role players play better at home. And the role players for this team, you talk about Anthony Lamb, Dante DiVincenzo. You know what Jordan Poole is going to bring to the table. You know what Klay Thompson brings. But the bench of this team really came alive today in this game tonight. Ty Jerome, oh my gosh, they played great defense. We're moving the ball. Right. It was just they won all the 50-50 balls. The rebounding, this is the #1 rebounding team in the league, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Warriors out-rebound them 51 rebounds to 44. That is a big deal. They came out and set the tone physically tonight, understanding that they have to do all these little little things to be able to win. And I said this before the game, that this team has a lot of tools in the bench, and this is them getting that together, especially when they're home. Now, let's take this show and keep building on it.
Well, they won't be on the road for quite some time. They still have 7 games left on this 8-game homestand, but tonight was important for the Golden State Warriors as the Grizzlies came in, tied for first place in the Western Conference alongside the Denver Nuggets. Of course, the Grizzlies had circled this game, but you got a spirited effort from Jordan Poole, who got ejected from the game with 9:20 left. We'll get to that a little bit later. You had Clay locked in, but you mentioned the bench, and I thought a key stretch for the Golden State Warriors was the end of the first quarter. Wiseman and Moody were the first guys off the bench, and they played the last 5 minutes of the first quarter. They were later on joined by Jonathan Kuminga, and that young core was able to stabilize the game, and they were +2 in the last 5 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, there was reason to be concerned because Jordan was so good in that first quarter with 17 points. There was reason to be concerned, okay, how would the Warriors hold up with him on the bench? Just like you used to wonder if when Steph on the bench, how would the Warriors hold up? But the second unit took the lead from 5 and 6 to 10. And so that was it. Wiseman came in, didn't take a shot, but he defended, rebounded. He did all the little things.
Positioning was really good tonight.
Yeah, and so these are the things you want your second unit to do. Either grow leads or at least make sure they don't get lost. So once they got to that point, and there was a timeout early in the second quarter by Taylor Jenkins thinking, okay, wait a minute, this is not going our way. I think after that, you felt like the Warriors had a formula that if they follow it, they'll win this game. And they kept following it. Whenever the Grizzlies came back, the Warriors found a way to return.
If you said that was your favorite part of the game, my favorite start to the game was Klay Thompson. Watching him playmaking for the guys, and you call it the bench guys, but for everybody else. He was getting in the paint, and I said that that's what Jordan Poole should have done, but every time Klay Thompson got the ball, he started creating for other guys, and what does that do? And when the game gets into a lull, when you're not making shots, then other guys are making shots, then you're getting stops. You talked about the end of the first quarter. The end of the first quarter happened because the guys were involved. They were engaged. There's something about having the ball and being able to touch the ball and being around. When you get to touch the ball as a player, you just energized. You play better defense. You run the floor better. You get to your spots better.
Yeah, you feel like you feel like your effort is being rewarded. Yes. You know, just because you're out there, if you don't see the ball on 3 or 4 possessions, it's like, why am I even out here? You know, what am I doing? But when they're all involved, everybody gets into it.
I will say, this team right here, they wanted this game. The Warriors wanted this game. They came in tonight with that intensity. You know what the last couple of days have been in practice. They've been watching that 91 first half against the Brooklyn Nets. 91 points in the first half. And tonight, in the third quarter, the Memphis Grizzlies have 89 points.
Well, we're going to go to the third quarter tape because the Grizzlies ended the first half down 5. Remember, the Warriors were up 15 in that second quarter. The Memphis Grizzlies charged back. Tyus Jones went on a personal 6-0 run. So tonight, Jaren Jackson Jr. with another rough night. And John Morant by himself couldn't carry the Grizzlies to a win over the Golden State Warriors, and they are feeling good as they improved to 13-2 at home. And we welcome everybody to Warriors Live, presented by Toyota with the NBA champ Festus Ezeli, our Hall of Famer Warriors insider
Monty
Poole. I am Bonte Hill, and Monty, I'll start with you.
Yep.
That was a statement made by the Golden State Warriors saying basically the West still runs through the Bay.
You know, the Grizzlies did all this talking, and they haven't won any. They've won 1 playoff series. And so, and again, the last time they saw the Warriors beat them four times in 6 games. Now the Warriors have beaten them 5 in the last 7 games. So it just, you know, they're a good team, but the Warriors at home have been a different team this year. We've seen that all season long. Today was kind of like, sorry, business as usual for them.
This is the craziest case of Jekyll and Hyde I've ever seen. The Warriors right now at home, you know, the way they move the ball, we talk about this all the time, how role players play better at home. And the role players for this team, you talk about Anthony Lamb, Dante DiVincenzo. You know what Jordan Poole is going to bring to the table. You know what Klay Thompson brings. But the bench of this team really came alive today in this game tonight. Ty Jerome.